everybody, welcome back to this amazing channel. Today we have a dear friend of mine, my mentor, the healthiest person I know, Lou Corona, 73 years young, and living off raw living foods only, I think. No, pretty strict, right? For the past 50 plus
it's
years.
Not strict, it's easy. It's a piece of cake. It's second nature to me. So please don't think it's like strict and, I don't do this by discipline, I really, sometimes people ask that question, like, how do you do it and how do you stay in it for this time? I mean, this long time, right? All these decades. But because I don't do it out of discipline or out of like sheer will or, like being strict about it. It has nothing to do with that for me. I mean, in the beginning it was life and death. So, I felt like if I want to live, I need to do this because I was instructed to do this, right? But I kept doing it really out of love, really. So out of love and respect and honor and appreciation for my life.
Wow.
That's what keeps me in it.
And that's the right intention for what we do, right? For everything we do, right? And I feel like that's the intention you put behind everything you do. Yeah.
So they always say, like, if you put God first, everything follows, And it's kind of like that for me. I feel like God gave me this knowledge to live this way so I could get well and stay well, because that's what I asked for. Mm-hmm. I want to know, what do I need to do to get well and stay well? Mm-hmm. And so when I was given these 4 principles and then they were shown how to put them to work, I mean, I just did it. And so I'm just grateful that I somehow had maybe call it a gift, to be able to feel his presence and then see what I saw. Mm-hmm. And then be able to hear what I was guided to do, and then have the courage and the willingness to do it.
And it's all because you asked, right? You asked for healing. I asked. So you think it's important we need to ask in life for what we want, whether it's healing or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, like they say, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. So be specific and be conscientious and careful and really selective. What is it that you really want in this life? And let it be that it would most serve you and be a good thing for you,
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I turned that off. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Ridiculous. It never stops. I'm going to turn it right off. Yeah. Okay. Well, so we're going to do a viewer's Q&A in this too. You guys have all the hot questions. So we're going to ask you, Lou always says, I got a hot question for you. These are all hot questions. They are all everything you guys want to know. And a lot of stuff we've never touched on. So the first thing some people have seen, but this really blows people away. Somebody was saying, wow, 73, I first heard of Lou when he was 60, when Dan interviewed him. And he used to balance his body on the kitchen countertop from his wrists. Ask him if he can still do that. He's so inspiring and such a humble man.
Well, I'm 73, it's a piece of cake.
Lou, that's incredible. And you make it look easy, right? People will be like, oh, I can do that. I can do a plank. But I encourage you guys at home to get up and try and do that. It's actually quite difficult. So do you think you could still attribute this plank, like the strength you have, to your lifestyle too? Do you think if you were standard American diet, you could still do that?
Well, I mean, personally, I've never seen it. I mean, most people that especially live a standard American diet per se, like where I came from my first 21 years, back then I did have strength and all that. I could do amazing things because I trained a lot, extensive training. But over the years, to maintain that energy and that strength, even till now, I mean, I see doing a plank and a bunch of other things, even at 100, even when I reach 100, even 150. I mean, I don't even, the way I feel right now, how sometimes people feel like when they're in their 20s, they feel like invincible, like they're just going to live forever because they feel so good. And they feel, because they're young and they're still vital and they still have that energy and that strength and everything. And they feel like, they don't even think about dying. They're thinking they're just going to continue living forever the way they feel, right? Well, it's like that with me even at this age, at 73. I mean, I still feel that feeling of, it's, as far as like dying, I don't even think, it's not even.
I love it.
I mean, I have big plans, I mean, I have plans to go back to, I haven't trained for 54 years since high school. So I have big plans to go back to training. You know, I plan on breaking 4-minute mile in the near future. You know, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Because that's the key, right? Always keep going with stuff. Always create things that we can
but you're not going to
improve,
do it on cooked processed food or eating dead animals. It just doesn't, it doesn't work long term, you know? If you really think that you can put something dead inside your body, right? Whether it's dead animals or dead food, whatever. If you think that you can actually partake of that and put it inside this body that you've been blessed and given, right? And think you're going to have a long, quality, healthy, vibrant life, well, it's probably not going to happen.
But it's crazy because like that's the norm out there.
Yeah, 99% of people in the world, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't mean it's the truth. It doesn't mean it's real. Because I did that first 21 years of my life, and I was dying at 21. I mean, I had a big tumor, I had acne, I had asthma, I had pain in my joints, and I was all backed up. So, but all that went away in 6 months, learning these 4 principles. And one of the principles was how to feed my body. And that's when I was given those instructions to stop doing what I was doing. And so I started eating fresh fruits and vegetables and fresh herbs, and I learned how to soak seeds and germinate them, and I even learned how to make yogurt out of nuts and seeds, as you got to see yesterday.
Yeah, and the last video we did was a what I eat in a day video. Lou shows us what exactly he eats and does in a day, so I'll link that down below in case you guys missed that one. But yeah, that's important too.
But there's times I don't eat anything, you know, because it's nice to do that once in a while. It's
time you can connect, right?
Yeah. But it's time to let the body rest and not even eat anything. Just enjoy some clean water and do some breathing, and you know.
And for anybody who doesn't know, because they always hear you talk about the 4 principles, can you give us a recap of what that is? And is that what sort of came to you from from God?
Yeah.
Like, did that come to you?
Absolutely. It was a special moment for me. But if I talk too much about it, I'll start crying because I get so grateful about it, you know.
See, I want to be at this level of gratitude. I love like the level of gratitude you have, you know? Lou, aww, love you. Aww. I feel like you're on like another level. You're on like such a godly level, you know? I feel like if there was like a rule book for how to live that God was going to give us, you're like living it.
These are these moments where if you really want to get a sense and feel what it's like to feel so grateful you can't stand it, this is what it looks like, you know what I mean? You know, you just get so, in the moment that I was in, I was embraced by this bright light, you know, and I was given instructions, I was shown things. And that's why I said I was so thankful that I was able to see what I saw and hear and see what I was shown and everything. But when I learned these 4 principles and woke up with it, it was, I knew that this is it. This is what I'm going to do, you know? And then the next day, I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. I could actually tell all these different instructions I was given. It was a huge undertaking. It was like completely different than where I came from, you know? I came from Burger King and, you know, Pizza Hut. And,
me too. My first job was Pizza Hut. Literally.
Really?
Literally. I was a dishwasher, and then I worked my way up to flipping pizzas. And I was a waitress.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. So
I just loved the pizza.
Yeah. No, I remember those moments where I used to enjoy all those, you know, but
it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it for the little taste, and then for how it affects you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. At the time when I was enjoying all these, my mom's cooking, Italian food, Mexican food, and all these fast foods and everything, at the time it seemed like it was all good and fine and great. And I mean, I was enjoying everything, you know. But, but then when the tumor showed up and the acne and the allergies and the hay fever and the rashes and the digestive issues and, you know, the pain in my joints and all these different things, wow. You know, that it took all that to wake me up. Some of us, you know, when we go through life, some of us just have to have an experience like this to wake up. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Not everybody wakes up.
Not everybody wakes up even when those things happen.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people where they're suffering, and I pre-qualify people now, but back then I used to just, look, I mean, would you like to learn about these things?
Yeah.
But there's some people that don't want to know about it. They don't want to learn it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to change. They'd rather just check out before they do anything like that. You know, they don't, because some people don't want to be here. See, that's the thing. So I've learned through time that before I really, even work with somebody, and if they actually somehow seek me out and want to know what I know and want to do what I'm doing, because there is a few people out there that want to do that. They actually
there are people that want to.
Oh yeah, there's I'm busy. I'm really busy, but there's people that have that certain something in them where they know that I know. They somehow have that sense, and they want to do whatever I'm doing or whatever I would do in their situation, as I've done even for myself. But the thing is that when I did learn these 4 principles and how to put them into practice, very quickly, all within a few months, the tumor dissolved, the acne went away, everything went away in 6 months. It never came back in 52 years. So it's special.
It's special.
It's
More
very
than
special.
It's...
And that's why I commend you and acknowledge you and very supportive of you to help others catch on to this lifestyle. Because, when you start tapping into the 4 principles, so you did ask a quick question. Well, if I was there's a recording coming out real soon that will be available for you to share with your family and friends.
I'll share it with you guys too. And you go over the 4 principles.
It'll go a little deeper. But if I give it to you in like a nutshell, the first principle, I gave him a name just to put him in category. There's many teachings to life, as you know, but I put him in 4 categories just to try to simplify it a little bit, just to remember, you got to remember 4 things in this life. If you can remember these 4 things and do the things inside each one of these principles, you're going to have a good life. You're going to have a good life, And if you want to have it even better, then really look on how to tap into those 4 principles on a deeper level, and then work on mastering them, because I'm still evolving with them myself. I'm still developing and evolving in them, right? Like the other day, we were at the park, and I had all the people that were there, I had them all hold their arms like that for 15 minutes.
Wow.
And I think there was like half the people were gone in 5 minutes. Their arms went down because it gets so painful just to hold your arms like that.
Wow.
We were all standing up, and our arms were like this. And we were just taking on this spiritual training, you might say. And 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, people were coming down because it starts burning up here.
Wow.
Yeah, just holding your arms like that.
Wow.
And then 6 minutes, a few more people went down. 7 minutes, more people went down.
Wow.
And
you were still standing at the end, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I've gone up to an hour doing that. But there was a few people. Marcus was one of them.
Yeah.
Just a few people made it to 15 minutes.
Wow, no way.
And when I did the 15 minutes with him, honestly, I felt like I could have done it for an hour just like that, just like I did before.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but developing this thing about claiming or commanding your body to do something you want it to do. Sometimes the body fights and doesn't want to do certain things you command it to do. You know what I mean? So it's a good practice.
Yeah.
So when you make this clad iron decision to cleanse and heal and regenerate and balance and harmonize every cell in your body, making you radiant, strong, and vibrant with abundance of energy and great strength, you can command that.
Wow.
Right? And so back then, 52 years ago, when I was sick and dying in bed, and when I came back to life the next day, I was so thankful. And I've been like that ever since, But when you take on these teachings and you really put into practice, so I made that decision because before I was going through this near-death experience, before that, years before that, I was dying, and I was wanting to die because I had the will to not live anymore. See, I didn't want to live anymore because I had been heavily abused when I was little. My first 10 years of my life was really intense. So I was suicidal for years, before I was actually physically dying. So I'm just saying that we, as people, manifest whatever we manifest and create our lives the way it happens. So as soon as we start taking responsibility and start being intentional about what we really want in this life, and be really clear about what it is that we really want to create in this life for ourselves, then we can actually give it thought. We can actually have the thought of that, what it is, create it. We can actually manifest it. Because, they say if you think it, and if you can see it, and if you can feel it, and you can put your heart into it, you can manifest whatever it is that you want in this life. That's the beauty that we have going on, because we've been given a free will, right? So utilize that will, strengthen that will, hold those arms for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever, and strengthen your will. And when you make this clan iron decision, if you choose to make a clan iron decision that you want to cleanse, heal, regenerate, balance, harmonize every cell, every organ, every gland throughout your being, and making you youthful and radiant and strong and vibrant, those are things that you would want to create for yourself, wouldn't you?
Of course, yes.
Right? And maintain great health and wellness and have an abundance of energy and all that. You can create it. You can manifest it. But also, you're going to find yourself changing and adjusting. Your whole life will adjust in itself to accomplish that. So you're going to find yourself drinking pure alkaline structured energized water. You're going to find yourself drinking that lemon ginger blast because it's such a powerful drink, right? But you're going to find yourself eating fresh live foods, soak those seeds and germinate those seeds, and you take the time to do those things because it honors the body, right? But you're also going to be conscientious about what you think. So the first principle is called cellular communication. How you communicate with God, how you communicate with your mind, how you communicate with your emotions, your heart, and how you communicate with your body, how you communicate with each other, how you communicate with animals, how you communicate with the plants even. Have you ever heard of that lady? There was a book called Finhorn. I always loved that book because that lady was so connected spiritually, and she connected with the spiritual aspect with God, with the plants and all that, and she was given instruction how to put up a garden and how to feed it and how to take care of it and all that. And her husband helped her, and it grew these big, huge basketball like cabbages, and just everything was so huge and luscious, and it was amazing. It was an amazing garden, but I'm just trying to point out that when people say to their plants, I love you, you're beautiful, and these plants just flourish and they come back to life, you know?
Versus the opposite, if they say hateful things or the environment's bad, I've heard like they could die, right?
Yes,
Crazy.
Yes. And it's the same thing with animals. If you express and throw this intention out of loving them and caring for them and what have you, they love you back. I mean, they feel very safe around you.
And that's, I guess, like everything in life, right?
Yeah.
Everything and everyone, right? If we live and you do that, you embody that. So how can we do that? How can we like let go of like the other side of things and just embody so much love?
Oh, that's a great question.
All the time like you.
That's such a great question because, at first, when I was given instructions to love and forgive all these people in my past that hurt me and beat me, and they were beating me and kicking me like a football, you know what I mean? Kicking me around, and I was being thrown around pretty badly.
Yeah, I know.
But how do you, at first, the first response that I had, are you kidding me? It's like I'm actually like sort of sarcastic back then, but I'm telling God, like, you got to you want me to forgive those people for what they did to me? Are you kidding me? It's like, what? Yeah. That was an impossibility back then,
Right? Yeah.
Because back then I was a little mafioso type of a person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't even think.
Little Lou. I'd like to see you back then, huh? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? To love and forgive and accept people for where they're at, and to have compassion for them, and to pray over them, and to, pray for success and peace, and love them unconditionally. To be able to do that to people that were so hurtful and so, evil, it's a gift in itself to be able to do that. And when I finally surrendered, and I'm thinking to myself, He's instructing me to do this for those people. And at first, I couldn't think how I could do that. Because at that time, I was a little thinker. I didn't have a big heart back then, you know what I mean? I was angry and resentful. So when you're angry and resentful, there's no way you get to refine love and forgiveness for people that hurt you and beat you. There's just, it doesn't happen. So, but when I was able to surrender and be humbled by this whole experience that I was going through, well, at that point, I let go and let God. That's what the secret behind it. So for me, that's what I did. And when I really surrendered in that way, the Lord gave me that power to be able to have that. You know, also, I was shown something. I was shown a vision of the intensity, the abuse and the beatings and the ridicule that the Lord went through before he got taken out. And then for him to turn around and say, Father, forgive them for what they not know or do, you know. But having that scenario, I thought, well, if he could do it, I can do it, you know. So I was able to, and because whatever he went through was nothing compared to what I had gone through, not even close. You know what I mean? It was so intense that I saw that, and then I go, well, man, that was not even in comparison. In fact, I honestly, I don't even know anybody that's ever gone through that type of ridicule, that type of abuse, you know, and then be taken out, you know. So I think that having that contrast, and I was able to surrender, and I was able to let go and let God.
Wow, so that's what we should do.
And so I was able to trust in that. I was able to put all my trust in that, and I was able to actually love all those people and actually have true forgiveness. So all the anger and all the resentment and that vengeful way of thinking or being all went away.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's not about forgiveness. Is not about condoning the act. It's really more about letting go of the anger, the resentment, the vengeance, the condemnation towards people.
Because it can destroy us, right?
Well, but it actually does.
Even if we're eating the healthiest diet, even if we're all raw, eating the healthiest diet.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen
if we're
people
holding on to all that stuff. It can really destroy us, right?
That's why this principle is super, super powerful.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start tapping into this way of being, and because it's part of communication, right? It's all about the way you're communicating. Because your mind, the way you communicate with your mind, as soon as you start like really choosing to take on this life, being fully responsible, fully intentional, and knowing that you're capable of creating. God created us, but he gave us a free will to create our lives as we will. But as soon as you start becoming very intentional and responsible and knowing that you know that you're an expression of God himself, and we have this ability to create, we can create and create all kinds of possibilities. But we need to know that. We need to realize that we're these spiritual beings, that we're these brilliant, ingenious, creative beings, and we're capable. We have this infinite potential within us. That's why that last person that I worked with 27 years ago, I really thought he was 41, 42 maybe.
Yeah.
And he was 75.
Yeah.
He'd been living this lifestyle for many umpteen years, you know?
I believe it. That's like a lot of, like, you look drastically younger, Chef Babette, Mimi Kirk, all these people I interviewed. That's what drives me and motivates me. Because I want to be like this, you know? And look at you, you got your whole life ahead of you. You're not like, I'm 73, like,
I feel like I'm just getting started.
I love it.
Just like I just came out of college. I'm just getting, you know, I figured out, okay, what I want to do, you know, kind of thing. And
so if somebody's watching, they're in their 50s, 60s,
oh, man,
70s, and they're like, oh, I feel like crap. I don't like my life. It's over. That's not true, right?
No, it's not even close to being true. But it is for many, because the majority of people in the world are still stuck and caught up in the way we've been conditioned, programmed to live and think and be. You know what I mean? So, but we can break through all that. There's a way to break through all that. You know,
and that's why we're here today in a master class with Lou, right?
Well, this is just the beginning. I'm just touching just as I'm just skimming off the top here. You know, we're not going too deep yet, but there's so much more to it, though.
There is.
You know what I mean? So, but the second principle is about how we tap into the environment, embracing that sun every day a little bit, you know, and learning how to breathe more powerfully, how to drink good, clean water and keep hydrated, right? And spend some time in the water, drink it, immerse in it. I love doing hot, cold showers. I love doing the saunas and the cold plunges and ice water and going back and forth, you know. I swam across an ice lake, like it took me about an hour and 20 minutes or more. We're talking about ice water.
What, Lou?
Yeah, like
an hour and 20-minute ice lake? You swam the whole time? Oh,
yeah. It was up in Washington State. It was a good-sized lake, and it took me over an hour and 20 minutes to swim across it. But point being is that the ice, you know how the lakes, they freeze so thick, and you can walk across the lakes up there? Well, during the springtime, it melted. The ice melted, and then it went back to liquid. Well, then that's when the boats come back out, you know, and people go fishing. And well, my buddy and I swam across. He was on an air mattress, going like this on top of the mattress, and I swam across it.
Wow. And you find that beneficial, all that? Yeah, so it's important, the environment, right?
Most people couldn't do what I'm telling you because the water was like ice cold.
No, I wouldn't be down for that.
They would have died from hypothermia or something.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
But because when your bowels get cleaned up and when your blood is working really well, and you know how to do breath work.
And when you're drinking that lemon ginger blast with all that hot pepper, you're so hot you can swim through a lake for an hour in the cold.
Funny. Now that's funny. I never thought about it like that. You know.
Yes, so all that hot pepper.
I think what I was trying to say was that if you have great healthy circulation, and if you know how to do the breath work, and your body is healthy and strong and running clean and efficient and all that, you can do things like that. You know. You can hike mountains, you know, be in the snow, you know. I mean, it's a lot of things you can do with this body when it's in good condition. That's what I'm trying to say. Third principle is about how to exercise the body from a cellular perspective. It's called cellular exercise, right? So most people work at the gym. I haven't done the gym stuff for 54 years since high school, you know, and so. But what I have been doing is cellular type things. So breath work, the rebounding on the trampoline, the stretching throughout the day, doing the hot cold. Body work stimulates the lymphatic system and helps release blockages and all kinds of things. And I like dancing vigorously, does it also. It does cellular type exercise, right? And also running up and down the stairs or the bleachers or whatever. That's really good to do that too. Or you can hike up hike up a hill or a mountain. You know, that will stimulate your lymph and that'll exercise the cells in the body. So these type of things. And so I think that if people just to learn to do 20, 30 minutes of that type of cellular type exercising, it would be really helpful.
Okay.
It's one of the principles, you know. The guy that's 80 out running, out hiking the people that are 25 today, he's in the Himalayas.
That's embarrassing for the 25-year-olds.
Well, it was kind of funny because when I was studying this guy years ago, he hikes this mountain every day.
Wow.
That's his daily walk. He hikes the mountain to the top and comes back down on a daily basis. So the college kids from U.S. went to the Himalayas because they found out about that guy. So when they started climbing with him, hiking that mountain, when he was at the top, they had made it halfway already, the college kids. They were in their 20s. They were about halfway up. And then when they got to the top, when the college kids got up to the top, he was already at the bottom. This is an 80-year-old guy, right? So I'm just saying that cellular exercise is really, really powerful, you know? So even if you don't go to the gym. But if you do stuff like that, it'll still keep you healthy. But I want to go back to training eventually, you know, soon, because I enjoyed it, you know. It doesn't mean that going to the gym is a bad thing. It's just one of those things that I don't make time for because I'm so busy doing other things like helping people.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Exactly.
Which I'm passionate about.
I know. More passionate than anyone I know. And that was the third principle or the fourth principle?
Third.
That's the third.
And the
right.
fourth one is cellular nutrition, cellular food. How do you feed the body from a cellular perspective? That's where eating plant-based raw living foods comes in. Learning how to soak seeds, how to germinate seeds, how to culturize them, and eat everything fresh and everything enzyme active, enzyme alive. You know what I mean? The enzymes, the life force in your food is like vitally important. I don't do too much dehydrated foods per se, but I'll do a little here and there. But if I dry anything, I dry it under 105 degrees just because I don't want to destroy any of the enzymes. The enzymes are really important to us.
It's the key.
It's a major key of the food we're eating.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to digest well and assimilate, metabolize well, and eliminate well, and run clean and efficient. But that's not happening with most people.
No, it's not.
It's not happening. But the people who live the longest and the healthiest, that's what they're doing. They're eating plant-based, organic, raw living foods, enzyme-activated foods.
What's your goal? What age do you want to live to? Because I know some people who are raw vegans, even they're healthy, they're in their 70s. Not going to name names. And actually, you guys don't know them. This is somebody off the online world. And they're like, well, I don't know if I even want to live to 100.
Oh,
but how do you feel?
No, in that sense, I don't have a number for that. Yeah, no, I don't place a number for that because remember when I mentioned to you that we're these beautiful, infinite, creative beings that have this infinite potential within us? So no, I choose to, like, let's just say, Lord willing, okay? But I choose to live everlastingly as we were originally intended from the very beginning, so that I may continue serving and serving and serving and serving and giving and giving and serving and contributing to humanity, right? Ongoingly, forever and ever and ever. So I don't have this thing like I'm going to die when I'm 100 or 150 or 200 or 500. Or
500.
I'm not thinking like that.
That makes sense. I'm thinking
that. I'm thinking more like being more infinite with the aging, not aging, but just being.
That's a high level answer. I like that.
Yeah, because if you're going to ask me that question, what's your ultimate goal? Is really to be in oneness with God Himself, live in that space forever. So, and take the body with me. You know what I mean?
Wow, Lou, nice. Okay.
So that would be my answer.
I love that answer. Okay.
I like the idea of being infinite.
Yeah, I like that too.
And what I'm going to do when I go back to some training that I want to do, is I want to be able to demonstrate some things so people can go, oh, well, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. Maybe he's telling the truth about this infinite potential that we have within us. That if Lou can go back to training and do all these other crazy, amazing things, well, maybe I can too. Maybe I can cleanse and heal and regenerate myself. Maybe I can live like he does and have a better life. You know, that would be great. Maybe I better get started. You know what I mean? Right now, the most important thing that I have to say in this conversation is that who is ever watching this recording that we're doing here, and the only reason I'm really here is just because I know that you're real, and I know you love, like I do, whoever's listening to this recording, to tap into their potential, to tap into their full potential, and to live a great, amazing, wonderful life like we were intended from the beginning. So that's why I'm here. So I just pray that you can have the eyes to see it and the ears to hear it and the heart to pick up on it. And most importantly, the desire to live up to your potential and to be the best you can be. That's what
the desire, that's key. Yeah, okay.
And have the courage to do it.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, I love it. I love your energy. Like this energy, you know, I love it. Okay, I'm going to get into some of the viewers' questions. Somebody said,
go ahead.
What do you believe yields the fastest healing? Blending, juicing, or eating the raw fruits and vegetables? I think I know how you're going to answer it, but let's see what you say.
it really, it's all coming down to, it's a combination, really. It's a combination of, it depends on the situation where a person's at, you know.
Yeah, true, right?
I had a guy that was 450 pounds. He's a real tall guy, so normally he'd be 190. And he had a big tumor inside of his body. And he wanted to dissolve it naturally, like, because he heard that I had done that, so he wanted to do that. And his weight was not even an issue for him. That was not his concern. His concern was the tumor, the big tumor in his body. So, but he was facing surgery. And so he heard about me through a friend. We connected, and fasting would have been a wonderful thing for him to do. But he wasn't like mentally, emotionally, consciously even ready for fasting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's unique to each situation, I guess.
It's unique to each situation. So for him, you know, I was able to show him how to make fun. Like when I made the lemon ginger blast for him and his wife, he loved it. He loved it, you know. Because he likes spicy.
So he would love that.
He liked that little kick that it had, you know what I mean?
He would love it.
So he enjoyed that. And then when I made him a smoothie, I didn't put the greens of that on the first one. Remember that berry smoothie I made with the greens?
I just drank it. It was good. In the last video, you guys, go watch the recipes. The smoothie is so good. Everything is so good.
But I made him a smoothie and with that almond coconut yogurt in there. You know what? He liked it. No, he not liked it. He loved it. You know, he took 1 quart, you know, after he had his lemon ginger blast, maybe an hour later, he had a quart of the smoothie. And then the other quart he had a little bit later, you know, and he really enjoyed it. So that became his new life in the first half of his day, you know. But then when I made the wraps with sprouted seed pâtés and different wraps I made, and the big hearty salads with the dressing that you had yesterday.
That was delicious. The basil dressing, to die for, to live for.
But I didn't get to make the curry dressing for you. Oh my God, that was another good one.
We'll have to do that next time.
But anyway, but you know what? 2 years later, 9 months later, the tumor was gone. It dissolved naturally. And then the 2 years later, he was like 190 with no sag, no flab, looking great, you know? So he never even fasted 1 day.
Wow.
Now, is fasting very powerful? Of course it is. Can it help accelerate the cleansing, healing process? Absolutely. You know, there's water fasting, water juice fasting. Some people just go fruit, just eat fruit fast, you know, just no fruit for a day or two or a week or a month or 6 months, you know. It just depends. So it depends on the situation with the individual. So I always adjust according to where they're ready, what they're what they're up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to answer it like just a blank answer on that.
Yeah. Okay, I like that answer. That's good. Okay, and somebody said, has your daily food intake changed as you ride through your 70s?
You know, I think that personally, if I was going to advocate something, like some people advocate a certain particular fixed type of a scenario, type of a diet.
Yeah.
I'm one more for, yes, I'm going to definitely say plant-based, organic, raw living foods and cultured foods and all that. Listen to your body and do occasional cleansing and some fasting here and there, you know, as your body is calling for that. But more importantly, I like to encourage that people learn to tap into listening and communicating with their body, because the body actually instructs you what it needs and what it wants. And if you get more in tune with that, sometimes there's moments where sometimes the body will say, I want some water. So give it some good clean water to hydrate the body, right? It might want some fresh juice. It might want like a green juice or a fruit juice and give it that. But it didn't say Kool-Aid and soda pop and you know what I mean? Yeah. If the body wants something sweet on the sweet side, well, maybe have a banana or a mango or something. But it didn't say pastries and candy bars,
no,
right? Like I used to do. Right?
Me too.
So, but if the body wants something savory, then give it something savory. Kind of like when we had that nice hearty salad last night, or that soup that we had, the loose soup. I mean, that was pretty savory but hearty, right? But then when the body's it says stop eating, then stop eating.
That's a problem we have now. Yeah.
You know, like before I used to eat a lot of volume, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's amazing. I couldn't eat enough. But when your body starts tuning in and you start listening, you eat, and then when the body says, I've had enough, you're there, then okay. Call it even, you know. So learn to listen to the body.
Good answer. You know? Wow.
Yeah. And some people think, oh, they put a mindset like, oh, I've got to do it like this. And they get real disciplined about that, very rigid about that. But I do notice something interesting though. I was looking at the gorillas and watching how they do things. They eat mostly greens. They eat fruit and plenty of it, but they eat a lot more greens. And I kind of do that same thing.
Yeah, and you're thriving.
I find myself eating high mineral foods. You know, like I do enjoy the super grasses, the sea vegetables. I don't do the algae like spirulina and all that, but I do like the sea vegetables. They're really super high in minerals. I like shilajit, you know, because it's real high in minerals also. Moringa's real high in minerals, you know. So this high mineral food stuff is really beneficial. And I noticed when I've shown other people how to do this, I noticed that they get really healthy and they become very radiant, you know. So I do more lower sugar and higher minerals in my lifestyle. And for proteins, carbs, and fats, as you know, all nuts and seeds have proteins, carbs, and fats at different ratios, of course. But I've learned to soak and germinate and culture because, you know, some seeds and nuts, whatever, when you soak them up, they don't always germinate because once they're taken out of their shell, they won't germinate. So some seeds or nuts, whatever, that don't germinate, then I'll just go ahead and culturize them. Yeah. You know? Okay. And I find like it's common for me to take like coconut as an example. I like to take it and whip it up with some of the other nuts that I work with and culturize it and pre-digest it. You know, I use Life Biotic to do that with. Yeah, we have some of that. Yeah. Yeah. But I find that it's really easy to digest it and get so much more nutritional value from it. And I don't need very much of it to maintain and sustain. So I feel like these are your keys, like the high greens, high minerals, keeping maybe the fruits lower, not being afraid of the fats or the protein, using the enzymes, and culturizing everything, you know? I think another important factor is that when it comes to cellular nutrition, is that when we begin to really tap into understanding on a deeper level that organic raw fruits and vegetables and raw foods per se, our soil, organic soil, is running somewhere between 30 to 80% enzyme and mineral deficiencies because of the practices, the farming practices. You know, they're not really doing enough composting, enough rotations of the crops. They're not resting the soil properly. There's different things that are going on, and our soil has taken a hit over the years. And so I do things to compensate for that, and I don't mind. I don't particularly want to do that, but I know what it's like to live off the land because I did that. You know? You went silent too. Didn't you go silent for like how many years? 12 years. So you didn't talk at all? Yeah, well, I might say good morning, good night, but I mean, as far as like talking about spirituality or talking about politics, talking about nutrition or health or principles, no, I didn't do any of that for 12 years. So what I did, because when I came out of the Air Force in '74, by that time I was all healed. I was well, and I was feeling amazing. I felt incredible. So I knew that the whole world needed to know these teachings of these 4 principles by that time. And so I thought, well, at that point, I didn't even know how to even begin back in 1974, you know, like, how do I do that? How do I spread this knowledge all over the world and make sure that 8 billion people know about it? I had no clue how I would go about it. So what I did is I figured I'm going to go talk to my parents first, my loved ones, right? And then my brothers and sisters, my uncles and aunts and cousins and friends in Orange County, California, where I was raised. And I figured, you know what, I'm just going to let them know about it first. Because these are people who I know, you know, and who I love and care for. And so I figured, you know, I'd be well received, right? So 99% of them blew me off, you know, and they were not interested at all. No interest at all to what I had learned and experienced, the story, the teachings, none of it. It was completely like no go, right?
Yeah.
So after 2 years, I mean, my baby sister picked up on it. She got it, she did it, and she's been living like this for many, many years. And she had 5 kids since then. And now she's got 17 grandkids.
Wow.
And, but people look at her today and they think she's around 30, 31, 32 maybe. And she's 60. She's amazing. And she can do the plank like that.
Oh, she can?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
she can
you
do
guys
a lot
are
of
a
stuff.
duo, eh?
She's amazing. She's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
True story. But one day maybe I would love to either interview her or have somebody interview her and make her available to the world, because I think, personally, I feel that if everybody could see her and knowing that she had 5 kids and 17 grandkids, and have the kind of energy and the strength and vitality and the youth that she has.
I want to see
it's
this
so
woman.
Incredible that I think the world needs to know about it.
I want to have her
You know?
on.
So-
Yeah, we should talk to her. Wow, Lou.
But anyway, I'm just saying that around that time, by this time it would have been 1976. So I went on water for several days and I asked God about it. And I was led to go silent. So I went silent for 12 years. Imagine that. Imagine me going silent for 12 years.
No.
Oh my gosh. It was like a miraculous experience for me to,
We're making up for it
at
now.
that time, it was like an impossibility. It was an impossibility for me to go silent. Oh, come on, are you kidding me? With this much love and passion and compassion I have for humanity,
Yeah.
I wanted to tell the whole world about this, you know? But when I was told to go silent and just chill, and just let it be. Just go and live it. That's what I was told. Go, just live it. And then when the time comes, I'll let you know when to break silence. And so I moved away from here to Washington State. I have a place north of Spokane, Washington. And that's where PURDYME's up there too. But anyway, I went up there, got 10 acres of property. The 10 acres of property was north of Vancouver, Washington. And oh my goodness, it was beautiful, just beautiful. It was like heaven on earth kind of thing. It was just gorgeous piece of land, and had a nice house, a garden, a big garage, a big orchard, and just lived off the land for many years. My hair just kept growing and growing down to my waist, longer than yours.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just lived a simple, quiet life.
Must have been kind of nice, you know, in a lot of ways.
No, it was great. No, I learned a lot, and I kept studying and learning and researching in between everything, but I kept doing the work. You know, I kept following the 4 principles and eating all raw living foods and having my garden, the orchard, and all that, and just, you know, and I had a good job up there, and I didn't have to talk at work. I didn't have to talk at home.
A lot of people would like that. Yeah, that's good.
And I just worked in my garden, you know, and that became that was it. But after 12 years, I was led to let go of all that and go and start sharing the 4 principles and these teachings. And that's when I started. 1988 is when I started sharing these teachings, and then all of a sudden it went from 1 person to 2 and 3, and then before it went to little groups here and there, and then all of a sudden it went to 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people at a time wanting to learn about these things.
You're changing the world.
So it's been just growing and growing since then. So
I love
been
it.
amazing.
It's amazing.
And I never been taught how to speak or anything. I just do it from like this. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. And somebody was asking, how have you been able to sustain the lifestyle this long? And how do you compare to friends who do not live the lifestyle? That's a good question. Or even like people your own age, or like, you know, or friends who aren't, if you have any friends who aren't living the lifestyle, I don't know.
Well, I noticed that through time, my friends, the ones that I used to be in high school with, you know, they got into the drinking and the drugs and all that kind of thing. But those friends, they faded. You know, they kind of faded out of my life, you know, just naturally. You know, birds of feathers flock together kind of thing, you know? So, but when you find yourself being conscientious of what you're thinking and what you're even speaking, because even when I was in high school, my words were different than they are today. You know what I mean? I used to use a lot of negative words back then, you know. But when I found out how words can actually change your life, just right down to the words you use. There's words that can actually destroy not just yourself, but others around you by the words you choose to use. So I learned to change not just the way I thought, but the way I spoke, and even what I chose to eat and drink. And so I became conscientious of even the emotional experiences I was having. But when all that anger and resentment left me, and that being vengeful and condemning others and judging, criticizing, condemning others and governments and people and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, but when I let go of all that and just kept, and then I found myself just loving and appreciating and being grateful for the moments that I was in, and just choosing to live a peaceful, harmonious, joyous, loving life, you know, just a life like that. And to contribute and to serve, it changed my whole perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get news from everybody telling me all that's going on all over the world. You know,
mm-hmm.
I got people, because I meet people every day, and I got people calling from all over the world asking for help, and did you hear about this and hear about that? You know, I mean, I get so much news from people all over everywhere I go, and everyone that calls, that they fill me in on everything that's going on, even though I'm not even asking. You know?
Yeah.
I don't even need to watch TV to find out what's going on. I mean, everybody's telling me everything that's going on. You know?
Yeah.
But more importantly, is my focus is because I do realize and acknowledge, and I'm conscientious of the fact that every precious moment that we have, we're making a choice. Mm-hmm. We're making a choice what we choose to think, you know, whether it's negative or positive, or constructive or destructive. Mm-hmm. We have these thoughts that come into our mind, right? So we need to learn to guard them and protect them, and choose what to think and how to think about what we're thinking. You know, so if we are actually being conscientious of our thoughts, you'll find that you can actually choose how you want to think about whatever you want to think about in a positive, constructive, creative way, and be powerful in your thinking. And there's a way to do that, right? And it's the same thing with the emotions. We're choosing the emotional state that we are in. So if you can choose to be happy or sad, right? Or resentful and angry, or happy and joyful and forgiving and you know, peaceful and harmonious. You know, you can choose to do that. All the good, right? We can choose that. And we can stay in that space and hold that space by choice. So that's why I say we need to consider to be more responsible and more intentional about how we be, how we eat, drink, because every cell within your body is completely it's responding to every thought, every emotion, everything you eat and drink, everything you do.
And every word, right?
Every word, every intention, all of it's affecting every cell in your body. So if you want to be really lean, clean, serene, and radiant, strong, and vibrant, then you're going to choose to be a peaceful, loving, caring, grateful kind of a person. You're going to have an attitude of gratitude type of thing. And you're going to choose you're going to stop killing animals and eating them, because that creates like a grave inside your body. It's like digging your grave with your fork. So if you eat dead food, dead animals, you're digging your grave with your fork. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a choice, right? So that's why I would rather that if I choose to live this infinite, healthy, vibrant life ongoingly, Well, then I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put in the fruits and the veggies and the herbs that God gave us to begin with.
Some people think though, like I need that though. I can't survive on that. Like they say I need the protein, the amino acids, like the animal products, the nutrients. Something's going to happen to me if I don't get that. So like, what do you say about that?
That's a great question. I had a guy that was, he was about 21. He was supposed to be 180 in weight, and he was like 280, 100 pounds overweight for his height. And so he started getting really sick, and he went to his knees and he said, God, look, either take me or show me, because I feel so sickened, and I have no energy, no strength in me. And I want you to either take me right now so I don't have to suffer anymore, or show me. So he was shown to eat fruits and vegetables, sort of like I was. So he did that for 5 years. And that's what he just kept doing. And so I met him 5 years into it, and he was 100 pounds. He was 80 pounds lesser than he was supposed to be. So he went from 280 to 100 pounds, skin and bones.
Wow.
Just eating fruits and vegetables raw, nothing cooked. So I asked him the question. He was healthy, but he just didn't have any muscle, any power. So I asked him the question, how come you don't eat nuts and seeds? And he goes, because if I eat nuts and seeds, I get sick. If I eat any kind of animal protein, I get sick. I just cannot take it into my body and digest it. I get sick. So I said, have you ever learned how to soak and germinate your seeds and make them enzyme activated? Have you learned anything about taking some enzymes to help you digest better? He goes, no. Have you learned how to make like almond coconut yogurt or nut seed yogurts and pre-digest them so it's easy on your system? He goes, no. Okay, well, I'll show you. So I showed him all this stuff, right? And we did the live blood analysis so he could see the deficiencies in his system, what was working, what was not working, and all that. And then a year later, he 180. He became muscular and he became strong.
Amazing. That's incredible.
And he was able to easily consume nuts and seeds as long as they were soaked and germinated and or cultured.
That helps us digest them easier.
Major.
Yeah.
But he was also very, very enzyme deficient on top of that.
Somebody was asking too, does Lou take any supplements, or does the raw food give him every nutrient his body needs?
Well, you were asking earlier about B12. And, years and years ago, there was a doctor in Hollywood on a radio talk show. He was saying that if you're in a plant-based lifestyle, you need to take B12 supplement to compensate for that, because everybody that's plant-based, all you vegetarians out there are B12 deficient. All you vegans out there, I think he was just saying. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So then he offered a free test to come to his clinic and be tested to validate, so for yourself, And you know what? 95% of them were B12 deficient.
Wow.
So they either chose to start taking some animal products after that, or go and get some B12 supplement to compensate for that. But the few people who were B12 adequate, had more than plenty of B12, it was people that were living on raw living foods, because 99% of them, or I'm just kind of being, sort of conservative about this, but let's just say at least 95% or more were doing the cooked food, vegan food, right? But the ones that were not B12 deficient, it was just really a small percentage. It was people that were doing raw living foods, cultured foods. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and I was just one of them. Yeah. So we like when they checked me, it was plenty of B12. And when they checked the bone density, my bone density was off the hook.
Wow, and that's important, right? Especially as you get older.
Oh, they checked my bone density like 5 years ago, and it was strong bone density, very strong bone density.
Wow, okay.
But when people get more like in this age, they already have osteoporosis and brittle bones, and they're kind of stiff, and all that kind of stuff.
And you take
try this one. Go like this.
Oh, I'm gonna hurt. It's okay. And you, okay, so you take enzymes too. We'll talk about all this because you said something interesting.
No, I'm just for the B12. I'm just trying to point out that if your body is got good intestinal flora, which is an army of good friendly bacteria in your gut, your body actually manufactures the B complex. You know, and it makes you real strong, and it gives you a strong immune system. But when it comes to like, when I say things like the organic soil is running 25 or give or take like 30 to 80% enzyme deficient and mineral deficient, that's why I do take some powerful enzymes like Livezyme from PURDYME with meals. I've been doing enzymes for over 48 years.
And you say like
49 years.
When we're around 30, our body stops producing as many enzymes, right? And the cooked food, if we're eating the cooked food, it lacks the enzymes, so it's so much harder to digest, right?
Well, I think what I'm trying to point out with that statement is, if you study Dr. Edward Howe's work, I mean, what's happening is, as people through the years are eating, you know, obviously mostly cooked foods, you know, but really between even people who eat raw food, even raw vegans, are eating enzyme and mineral deficient foods. Okay, so now of course eating that lifestyle is far better than eating conventional, right? But the majority of people are living on mostly cooked food, as you know.
Yeah.
And even people that are mostly all plant-based people, like 90% of them are eating mostly cooked food. Even the plant-based people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, the proof and the evidence and the science behind it is that every time cooked food is going into your body or eating enzyme deficient food, your body's using more of its own enzymes to digest that food, more than you remanufacture within the body, which causes an enzyme depletion. So by the time, you know, 20s and the 30s and the 40s come along, you've already used up a lot of your enzyme potential. Okay, so you've already become enzyme deficient by that time. So the same cooked food that you've been eating throughout the years, when you become that deficient later on, then you start developing this partial digestion concept, where you're digesting part of your proteins, carbs, and fats, but then you start only digesting part of it, but not all of it. See, your objective when you're eating food is to digest all your proteins into amino acids so you can build strong muscle, hair, skin, and bone, make more enzymes and hormones in your body. But that's the objective. But when you become enzyme deficient later on in life, because you've been using up more than you're making, then you get to that point where you're only digesting, let's say, half of it, but the other half goes undigested. So now you start accumulating undigested proteins, carbs, and fats, which putrefy, ferment, and acidify in the body, which attracts parasites and bacteria and yeast. And when that is happening, your body becomes toxic in that process. And that's why people are aging much faster because of that. So what if you could take some powerful enzymes that come from plants and are highly concentrated to help compensate for that? If there is a way that you could do something to compensate for that enzyme deficiency in our food, so you can help maximize your ability to digest better, assimilate, metabolize better, eliminate better, run more efficient, and just bring your food more up to par. So you're not stressing out that pancreas and overworking it. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but about 50 million Americans are walking around with diabetes. And about another 90 million walking around with pre-diabetes. You know, they call them pre-diabetics. I'm just saying, the pancreas is getting tired.
How do people know when they're pre-diabetic? What is that? Do you know?
Well, many people, when they're, I don't know if you know anything about hypoglycemia, but...
Yeah, that's what they said I used to have before. Remember, I had that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I used to pass out all the time. My blood sugars were a mess. So that's what they consider then pre-diabetic, I guess, right? Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I was kind of like that too. I just never went and got diagnosed for that. But I remember, going without food, I'd be on the edge.
Me too. Now I could go without for like a long time, you know, it's not.
Well, I got up to 40 days on water. That's why I knew I overcame it.
Yeah, you're overcoming it then.
Once I got cleaned up and healed and restored him back to to PAR, you know, I was able to do that.
Yeah, otherwise those
did it twice.
toxic foods, they can mess with our blood sugars, right? Big time.
Yeah, well, not only that, but dead foods. I'm trying to point out that most of the food people eat today is dead. There's no life in it. So the next best thing we can do is, at least if we're going to continue eating cooked food, at least take some enzymes, some powerful, full spectrum, highly active, powerful plant enzymes.
Yeah, let's take them up.
They're called lysozyme.
Yeah, those are lysozymes. Because
I'll just talk about that one for now.
Well, do you think you'd be where you are without taking this stuff?
It comes in powder form or capsule form. They also come in a bottle in capsule form.
Yeah.
But I do in both ways. You know, at home I like to do the powder. You know, but the capsules, this is like the best value for the dollar in this way. But yeah, but I mean, when you ask me that question about, do you think I would be doing as well as I would have been otherwise without them? I would say, because I've gone without them on purpose to see how my body responds. And I find that I do better because, you see, many years ago, this is like over 48 years ago, my friend was actually dying from cancer and he was skin and bones. And he refused surgery and chemo, radiation and all that. He didn't want to go that route. They were kind of basically telling him, look, we can buy you some time. We can remove your colon and put a colostomy bag on you. And we could give you some chemo, radiation, whatever, you know, buy you some time. They were coming from that place. And he said, you know, he could see that, like the writing on the wall, like, I'm not going to be here much longer, you know. So he said, I'm going to go and pray about this. So he went home and prayed about it. And somehow he came across this, the concept of doing enzyme therapy, probiotic therapy, herbal therapy. He learned about that. So he did it. And 6 months, cancer was gone, going to the bathroom well, weight came back. This guy was skin and bones. I mean, he was supposed to be 180 for his height because he's a tall guy. And he was like 90 pounds. Yeah. So, but he came back and I saw that. I got to witness that. And I saw the oatmeal demonstration back then through him. And I caught the concept. And then I studied Dr. Edward Howe's work. And I thought, oh my goodness. And then I did some more research. And then I found out the soil is running 30 to 80% enzyme and mineral deficiencies. That's organic soil. And I thought, oh my goodness. So then I thought, well, you know what? What if I start compensating for my own self? So I started slamming some, not the ones from the health food store. I'm talking about high-end, broad spectrum, high activity enzymes that work under a broad pH range. And so I started taking them, the same ones that he was taking that got him well. So I was taking them and I found myself digesting better, assimilating better, eliminating better, feeling better, doing better. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to keep doing it. I could actually tell a difference. I could actually tell in using them that it was actually helping me digest my food even better than I was already. Yeah. And I was already healed. Yeah. Because when I learned how to cleanse, heal, regenerate myself through the 4 principles, I didn't know anything about, you know, high-end medical grade plant enzymes therapy or probiotic therapy and all this stuff. I worked with fresh herbs. You know, I ate herbal salads. I would even blend up the herbs with a little water into like a smoothie. If you drank one of my herbal smoothies back then, you would have went yuck, yuck, yuck. You know what I mean? Forget it. You wouldn't. Most people wouldn't do it. You know. But I, you know, I'm just saying that. So I learned how to get well through the 4 principles. I learned how to do the breath work. I learned how to think more powerfully. I got clear and complete with past issues. I learned how to really love life and appreciate life and love and forgive the people in my past. And I learned how to fast, you know, and I learned how to do colonics and how to do the hot colds and all this stuff, how to do the movements and the body work and a lot of body work, right? But I healed. But I'm just saying that if I had known about this in the beginning of that, I could have cleansed, healed, regenerated myself much faster and quicker and easier. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
After what I've learned.
So I feel like they can really help people starting out who are like, oh, I get bloated with the raw food. When I transition, it can help people with like digestion and everything.
Yeah, well, see, that's interesting you say that, because a lot of people, because they've already overworked, overtaxed their digestive system, their intestinal tract is weak, their pancreas is already tired, you know, so they start eating raw foods. And sometimes they have that issue where they have a hard time digesting it, and they get a little bit of bloating, or they start going through detox and different things. Well, because their system's not used to handling the fiber, you know what I mean? And so the enzymes can actually help offset that as well, you know, I find. Yeah. You know, but also too, I think that's why juicing has been really helpful, because juicing, there is no fiber. The fiber's gone. True. But it's rich in vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and antioxidants and chlorophyll and blah, blah, blah. So it's real easy to take it in and start cleansing and healing the body, right? And do you ever drink fruit juice or no? Just the green juices? Like, will you ever drink like a straight fruit juice or no? Boy, that's interesting you asked that question. Let me see. Let me just say it's rarely, because right now I'm trying to think, when's the last time I've done that? You know, so the green juices are the best, I feel like, if I had to pick. Okay, the lemon ginger blast, I mean, when I first started, there was no apples involved, right? It was hardcore, you know, the lemon, turmeric, the ginger, the habanero, or cayenne at that time, and the cucumber, celery, parsley, cilantro, you know, all the greens, right? So it was hardcore. The fruit was in there, it was a lemon, right? But as far as anything sweet, I didn't do anything pretty much sweet for 6 months. Wow. Because see, sugar feeds the parasites and the candida. And I had both, you know. And that's a problem for a lot of people, I feel like, I think. Major. Yeah, wow. So if people are gonna at least take something outside of the 4 principles, I would definitely say Livezyme, whether it's powder form, capsule form, however, just to help compensate for the enzyme deficiency. It would be a plus thing to do. It would be a step in a better direction, just to compensate, just to help assist to digest better, so you can assimilate, metabolize better, eliminate better, and run more efficient. That's it. It's just powerful plants that have been concentrated into veggie caps or powder form, just to compensate, to maximize your ability to digest better, so you can assimilate and metabolize better. And that's where energy comes from. You know, the better you digest, the better you break down all those proteins into amino acids. Now you can build that strong muscle, hair, skin, and bones, and make more enzymes and hormones in your body. That's another question you might ask me about. Remember that question I asked you about? Which one? What? Sometimes people ask me that question. Well, I know some people do ask that if you take the enzymes, will you become like immune to them, right? That was a question. The question was, if I remember it, the question I've been somewhat challenged with sometimes is, if you take these powerful enzymes, are you going to become dependent on them? Is it going to stop your enzyme production in your body? What I meant. Yeah. Right? And I would say that would be like asking me the question, if you drink water, are you going to become dependent on water? Yeah. If you take a breath of air, are you going to become dependent on air that you breathe? My point is, if you eat that raw fruit or raw vegetable, are you going to become dependent on it? So my point in that is that we're already dependent on enzymes, one way or the other. Like, we're dependent on the air we breathe. A few minutes without that, you're gone, right? We're dependent on the water we drink, because without that, within a week, you're gone. If you get dehydrated to a certain point, your body dies. Many people go to the hospital all the time and get intravenously hydrated because they're dehydrated. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah, I have. Yeah. So I'm just saying, first is the will to live. The next thing after that is the air you breathe. You better learn to breathe slow and deep and powerfully, because most people are shallow breathers and they're not breathing slow and deep and powerfully. They're breathing shallow, and that's not good. That means they're deoxygenated. They're deoxygenating themselves and starving their bodies from breathing properly. So it's like a major player. But water, the body cries for water. So it's a good idea you drink pure alkaline structured energized water and bring plenty of it, you know? So you can hydrate you and keep you well hydrated, right? It's important. But right next to that is enzymes before protein, carbs, and fats, and vitamins and minerals. Because the enzymes are the ones, are like the secret key to breaking down your foods into micronutrients so they can be delivered into the cells. So if they don't come from your food, then it's going to come from your body. Because your body manufactures enzymes.
Yeah, I know.
You have pancreatic digestive enzymes, but you also have metabolic enzymes. And the thing of it is that if your food is lacking the enzymes to begin with because it's cooked or coming from enzyme deficient soil, it's a good idea to do something to compensate for that.
Yeah.
So the only reason we put these together in a particular way is we did it with no fillers, and we did it with whole food cofactors to make it so that way the body can easily use these enzymes and work in the body accordingly. Now, most people out there that make enzymes are using synthetic cofactors, and they're using fillers. We're not doing either. We're not doing any fillers, and we're using whole food cofactors. And it's like these are like 3 times stronger than what the good doctors out there are using. So these are like really high-end, high-activity, broad-spectrum plant enzymes.
Well, I know that because I see you take so many, and I know you only consume the best of things. You know, I know you would never consume something that was not the best quality.
Well, you don't know this part, but years and years ago, my friend who became healthy again, he became a really successful rep for an enzyme company back then, became super successful because he was so passionate about it, because it turned his life around, right?
Yeah.
And he was very convincing because he can show pictures of himself before and after, you know? And it was like you're not going to not take enzymes after you talk to him, you know what I mean, when he talks to you. But anyway, the company changed hands. The guy that took over decided to water down the enzymes by putting fillers in the enzymes.
Crazy.
And they weren't as powerful as before. And he left the company. He thought, why would anybody do that? You know, he couldn't stay there anymore. So he left and went to another company, and he was able to inspire them to bring some powerful enzymes into their company, nutritional company. And so he got started again, started all over. And he became super successful again. Did really well. Company grew. Everything was going great. Several years later, hands changed. The guy decided to do the same thing the first company did, and then it happened again. And then he quit, and he left that company because he was not going to refer people to a company that had watered down enzymes, you know, with a bunch of fillers, right? So he, by that time, he was successful enough and had enough knowledge and experience. He put his own company together, and he started supplying and started all over again, became really successful again. But this time, now he had control of the integrity and the quality of what he was doing. And that way, that would never happen again.
Yeah.
So then he became very successful again, and he started supplying a company that I started. He helped me. He asked me to help, so I helped him, and that company grew big. And I was very successful helping many people with that company. But 6 years later, boom, he ended up going to a different supplier and getting these cheap watered down enzymes.
Jeez.
And it happened again.
See, I'm glad you have the integrity.
But it happened to me, you know, now it happened to him twice, but now it happened to me. And so he cut out my friend, and he was like a father to me, you know. And so when that happened, I left, started all over, and I went to the original supplier, my dear friend, like a second father to me. And that's when the company was formed. Another company was formed, so that way I could have the high quality enzymes and probiotics and everything, and the herbs. And then I was able to help a lot of people all over again, and started all over again. And then 15 years later, nothing but success. Everything was great, happy, and helping people all over and doing great. Then all of a sudden, hands changed again. Boom. water down the enzymes, same
Wow.
thing that happened before. And I thought, oh my goodness, here we go again.
Yeah.
So then I went on water for several days, and I asked the Lord for his help to help me form a global company, be founded on the 4 principles, and make the best of the best enzymes and probiotics like ever. Everything that we do, the best of the best, superior, high quality, high spectrum, high activity, no fillers, you know, and do it, really do it right, and do it for the best possible price to the people in the world. And let's do this kind of thing. And I said, in the Lord's name. And then all of a sudden, this guy that I helped his wife with went from not being able to swim anymore. She wasn't able to eat food with her own fork anymore. She wasn't able to even get out of bed and go to the bathroom by herself anymore. She was like going down, right? Well, you know what? In 10 days, she sprung back. She's swimming again. She's eating food with her fork and getting out of bed by herself. And her husband was so blown away by that. He was so inspired. He donated $500,000 to form PURDYME and take it global. And that's when PURDYME was born. Wow. So when all of the family and the team came together, we all came together, we were able to form PURDYME, take it global. And so I was able to become president, co-founder, creator, guardian of PURDYME, and been holding space all this time. And we've been shipping, tracking all over the world for like 10 years plus already.
What a story, right? For a company to be founded. I love it.
And that's what PURDYME, so I'm really the guardian.
And if you guys want some PURDYME, the probiotics, the enzymes, everything, they have so many amazing things, such high quality, obviously the best of the best. I'll link it in the description box below.
So somebody could offer me right now $50 trillion to buy out PURDYME. And I would say, thank you very much for the offer, but it's not for sale. Okay?
Oh, I love it, Lou.
I'm that guy that can
I love the integrity. You know, we need that in this world. We need that because there's so much of it that's not there. Like you can tell with all the watered down stuff and with all those stories, it's crazy. And with the lack of regulations in a lot of industries and stuff too.
So remember though, that the 4 principles is the foundation of PURDYME. Learning to take this lifestyle and put it into practice at your best. But even if you're not able to do it all at once, it's an evolving thing for some, right? For me, it's life and death. So I took it on, and then I just kept evolving from there. And I'm still evolving. I'm still working on trying to do my best to follow the 4 principles and, you know, and master them myself. You know, it's an art. It's an art of living. You know, but I also know that that those of you that may be listening to this, if you're eating raw living foods like I'm doing, you might consider taking some enzymes like this, powder form, capsule form. I like it in powder form the best, personally. And if I do the veggie caps, I just chew them up and dissolve them in my mouth and then swallow it, because I don't like taking capsules. I don't like taking pills of any kind, you know, personally. But powder form is probably my first choice. But either way, still works, still does the job. But if you do something outside of the 4 principles, you might consider taking them with your meals, even though if you're doing raw living foods. But if you're eating cooked food, just remember, cooked food has no enzyme activity at all. Periods, like 0, right? So it would behoove anyone who's eating any kind of cooked food to consider taking the Lifezymes, because they're superior, of the highest quality, for the best possible price ever developed in history. So it'd be a good idea for them to at least take this. And if they were going to take something else outside of that, I would take the probiotics, like the Life Biotic. Life Biotic is the, and you notice how we spell life different? L-I-Y-F. It means life in your food. Put life in your food.
I never realized that before. I love that.
Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
It's an acronym. Yeah, life in your food. That's why we call it Lifezyme, because we want to encourage people to put life in the food, because the life in our food is lacking. If it's cooked, it's lacking 100%. There's no life force in dead food, cooked food. But if it's raw, you know, fresh food, then it's running 30 to 80% enzyme deficient. And even mineral deficient. That's why there's something else we're going to come up with that will compensate for that.
Amazing.
Around the corner.
Amazing.
But Life Biotic, we spell still life, L-I-Y-F, But Life Biotic is a powerful probiotic, and it's got 5 bacterial strains in it, and it's grown on a plant-based medium. So it's like a non-dairy probiotic, but it's highly proteolytic. But in conjunction with that, it not just breaks down proteins into amino acids, but it breaks down fats into fatty acids and carbohydrates to glucose. So when we take nuts and seeds that have different ratios of proteins, carbs, and fats, then what we do is we soak it, let's just say we try to do our best to encourage people to soak their seeds, germinate their seeds. But if they don't germinate, you can culturize them with Life Biotic and turn it into yogurt. Like when we made that macadamia yogurt yesterday, you tasted it. I mean, it was nice, right?
It was delicious.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you just soak it overnight and then blended it with a teaspoon of this into a cream with some water in the blender, let it sit for a few hours, it turns into yogurt, macadamia yogurt. My favorite one still is almond coconut yogurt. But I make all kinds of nut seed yogurts, as you know, right? But Life Biotic would be the second thing you might consider doing between these two right here. Life Biotic. So anything from a supplemental standpoint, I would consider the Lysozymes with meals and the Life Biotics to. You can take a spoonful of this at night before you go to bed. This is in powder form only. So you can take a spoon, put it in your mouth, little water, swish it, and swallow it. That's one way. Or there's another probiotic that we have. It's more of a therapeutic probiotic. It's called Pure Life. Pure Life. Again, life is spelled like this. So Pure Life it's just this with protease enzymes added to it. So it just makes it more proteolytic. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of undigested proteins in their system. So people that have like infections and the cancers and the fibromyalgias and endometriosis and Parkinson's, it's Alzheimer's and, depression and anxiety attacks, loss of muscle tone, acne, these are people who, lupus, all that stuff. Those are people that have a lot of undigested proteins in their system. So Pure Life would be a better approach for them. That one comes in VIOME. Yeah. But my point is, with this one, I like this one more because with this one, I can take a spoon at night before I go to bed, but I can make my nut seed yogurts with this one. So if I did two things, it would be these two guys. Well, I mean, the VIOME, but my two preferences is like this, because I like more powder stuff, Yeah.
Anything else that stands out you want to share?
Well, this is the
cleanse.
This is cleanse. It's really, really powerful, and it's a really gentle approach because it's specialized herbs and fibers that have been put together in such a way. So it's very gentle, but it's a soothing, healing way to attract toxins to yourself. But it's like a bowel cleanser, but it helps to clean, soothe, and restore the intestinal tract, and also to move it, to move the toxins out of the tract. So it's just a simple, gentle approach. Some people start off with a half a scoop, work up to a scoop. There's a little scooper inside this thing. So you take 6 ounces of juice or 6 ounces of water, you put the scoop in there, you mix it up really good, and then take it down. Very simple, very gentle, not hardcore, but it just attracts toxins. It has a very soothing, healing effect to your intestinal tract, and also helps to move the bowels to get the toxins out of the intestinal tract. So, like I had a guy that was going to the bathroom once a week. He started taking this.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He started taking enzymes with his meals to start digesting better. And he started taking the Life Biotic at night before he went to bed, just to help start establishing some good friendly bacteria in the gut. And he learned how to start making nut seed yogurts on top of that. And he wasn't going 100% raw, but he just started adding some things to his life. But he also took a scoop of this every morning. He started with a half a scoop, and then he worked up to a scoop. But just within a few weeks, he was going to the bathroom every day.
See, good.
And eventually, within a month, he was going to the bathroom twice a day.
Good. He's a lot healthier, happier.
Oh, way
night and day, I'm sure.
Night and day, yeah. If you're going to do something else outside of that, we did create a whole food complex. It's got an array. This is all plant-based. It has an array of a bunch of protein amino acids, tocotrienols, tocopherols, good essential fatty acids in here, some good carbs in here. And it's a whole food complex. And it's really good. I add it to my smoothies, dressings, soups. I add it to my nut seed yogurts. But we have what they call a protein complex that's called raw life protein. We didn't bring it here today, but raw
I
life.
have that at home. It's good.
Yeah. Raw life protein is a really powerful plant-based protein complex that's enzyme enhanced. It's got probiotics in there. It's very easy to digest and absorb. So you can add it to your smoothies and dressings and soups as well. Put together with these two together, raw life protein and this together is actually a good way to go, but it's more complete. But it definitely enhances the nutritional value of your nut seed yogurts, but also your smoothies and dressings and soups that you might make. It's something you might incur in your lifestyle. And a lot of people love it, and they enjoy it, and they enjoy the benefits of it. And your hunger is gone quickly because it actually satisfies you very quickly because it's very easy to digest it and absorb it. Now, if you want to do something outside of just for nutritional standpoint, but if you want to do something like for cleansing the body and for creating some healing and regeneration of the body, then we can talk about 3 things above and beyond that, if you want to do that. So if you're going to do that, then I'll put these away. This is about working systemically. This is more about for those that may want to do some extra special work to clean the blood, to clean the intestinal tract and clean the blood. So we talked about the cleanse. That's the beginning stages of getting the blood cleaned up, because the life is in the blood, right? So if we can get the cleanse going on and start cleaning the blood and getting those friendly bacteria going on, that's why either Life Biotic or Pure Life taken at nighttime before you go to bed, as an example. Some people take morning and night, but let's just say, so when people do the cleanse, you want to wait an hour first after you take it, and then from there you can have breakfast or a smoothie or whatever. But give it that hour so it can do its job, so it can go to work, you know. But as far as doing anything systemically, this is where the 3 Musketeers comes in, the PURDYME, MSM, and Herbal Blood. So what these guys are about is the PURDYME is a highly concentrated spectrum of enzymes that help to address and assist to digest the accumulation of undigested proteins, carbs, and fats that have accumulated in the body through time. So when we as people have become enzyme deficient or has accumulated undigested proteins, carbs, and fats, maybe because of the food choices that we've made, and we have a bunch of undigested proteins, carbs, and fats, well, PURDYME can help go into the system systemically by taking it on an empty stomach, meaning an hour or more before meals or 2 hours or more after meals. So if they take it on an empty stomach, then these guys will go into the bloodstream and go to work, start helping. The PURDYME will help to digest the proteins into amino acids, fats into fatty acids, carbs into glucose, but it also helps to break down protein plaquing, mineral plaquing, fat plaquing, mucoid plaquing that builds up and accumulates in the system. That's plugging us up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why we're suffering.
Yeah.
Inflammation is one thing, but the plaquing that has accumulated in the brain and the organs and the joints and the arteries and all this plaquing, you know, it's really setting us up. So PURDYME can help assist that. And the MSM is a plant-based organic sulfur that helps you to absorb better. It makes your cells more permeable so you can absorb better and also release toxins faster and quicker and easier. So it's really good for the connective tissue. So MSM is one of those kind of compounds that is lacking in plants today, even though it comes from plants. But they've been able to highly concentrate it into this form. And we have it with vitamin C and enzymes so the MSM can work better in the system and deliver and do his job.
Yeah.
But it's been very effective.
Amazing.
And one of the things I noticed when I started incorporating MSM along with everything else I've been doing is that I had a really thick scar on my left leg from a motorcycle accident years ago when they did surgery on it. I had a miraculous healing from the bone structure-wise, but as far as the scar, it was real thick and red and protruding, and it was really like messed up looking, you know. But anyhow, I noticed that as I got into this lifestyle and as I incorporated the MSM, I noticed the scar softened up, loosened up, and now it's level with my skin.
Wow, interesting,
Yeah.
amazing.
And it took away that real dark, deep color that it had. Now it has blended in with the skin. It's soft and it's more pliable, and I can barely tell it's there. And if you look at my leg, you can, on my side, you know, you can kind of tell it's still there, but I mean, I'm just saying it really made a big difference. So I noticed with people with scar tissue, it's really been helpful. But beyond that, there's so many things I can tell you about MSM, but I'm not going to go there. The other thing is herbal blood. Herbal blood has been created with these specialized herbs and enzymes to help cleanse the blood, you know. So so when you're using all three of them together, well, and I want you to imagine for a second, this is the part where I'm hope to be free to say this, but one of the main reasons why people suffer is because we have this accumulation of undigested proteins, carbs, and fats that putrefy, ferment, and acidify in the body. And it attracts parasites and bacteria and yeast and so on. So if we can do something to get rid of the excess undigested proteins, carbs, and fats that are putrefying, fermenting, acidifying, that becomes an environment, fuel for the parasites and the bacteria and the yeast. If you can remove that from the system, and if you can absorb better and release toxins faster and quicker through the MSM, but the herbal blood can go in there and clean up the system, clean up the bloodstream, and assist with better circulation. It's really good for the cardiovascular part of the system. You got a win-win-win. So I would definitely encourage. So how do you take it? Well, some people like to start off with just one of each 3 times a day on an empty stomach, and then gradually work up to 2 of each 3 times a day on an empty stomach again, right? But gradually step it up as time goes on. You can go up to 3 of each 3 times a day, and then eventually gradually work up to 10 of each 3 times a day. That's called titrating the dose. By doing that way you don't go into like massive detox. So if you start taking, like if a person's toxic, let's say, and they start taking 10 of each 3 times a day, just like that, well, just within a short time, they might find themselves having headaches, nausea, dizziness, becoming very lethargic. They might start breaking out of the skin. You know, these different weird systems kind of show up. That's called detox. So people can have that same experience even drinking wheatgrass juice, because I did back in the day. So I drank a 4-ounce wheatgrass juice just like that when I was real toxic, and I got headachy, nausea, dizzy. Oh my gosh, it was like a brick hit me, you know. And I realized that I just wasn't ready. My body wasn't ready to handle that much wheatgrass juice. Because you know, wheatgrass juice is very healthy and very healing to your body. But if you take too much too fast, especially if you're toxic, you might have some symptoms like that. So I learned, you know, just through going through the process. So this is kind of like that too. You know, it's very cleansing, very healing and all that. It's really good for you. There's nothing there that can hurt you. But if you start taking something like this and you just think, well, I can handle it, you know, because I've had people do that. And they start taking 10 of each 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day, like I've done, you know. You know, so if they do that and they start having this cleansing reaction, the best that they can do is maybe either cut back or go get a colonic and rinse out that gunk out of the system.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
That's why I like to encourage detox bathing, colonic therapy when they need it, body work when they need it, you know.
And I know a lot of people were asking, they wanted to know how you've managed to stay on raw all these years.
Well, most importantly, I'd like to say again is that once you get well and you feel great, you want to stay that way.
That's the
so
thing.
that's one of the things. But the other thing is really I don't do this out of, again, discipline and sheer will. I do it more out of because I'm really present to this. I'm very present to our Heavenly Father, and you know, when I ask for help, when I ask for guidance, I really said I want to learn how to be healed from all my issues that I got going on. So I want to learn how to get well, but I also want to learn how to stay well. And so I need you to guide and direct me how to do that. And so out of love and respect and out of honor, out of appreciation for my life, really that's what's kept me in the game.
Yeah, I love that.
Not just feeling great and wanting to stay feeling great, but I want to stay healthy and happy and excited and everything. But really, the driving force, really, I'm in touch and present, and I stay present and hold that space. My love for God, my love for my life, my love for you, my love for everyone. And you know, I mean, I really appreciate this life. I really do.
Yeah, you do.
So it's not about loving myself. It's more about loving life, loving this life that we've been blessed with, and loving everyone, you know, and doing my best to create a win-win scenario with everyone at best, you know.
I love that, Lou.
Yeah.
So well said. That was amazing.
I think if I was going to declare something, I would declare to love and respect and honor and appreciate my life as a blessing, as a gift. It's a privilege to have this life, and also to love and respect and honor and appreciate everyone else around me everywhere I go, creating win-win with everyone.
I love that. Beautiful. Well, this has been amazing.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on.
Last questions? That's it?
I was going to ask you, I think we do have a question from our last guest. Our last guest wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Did I ask it already? No, I didn't, right? Yeah, no, I'm going to pull that up for you right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let me grab it and let the mic to fall. Thank you. Okay, so for someone who is just starting their raw journey, what are a few key tips to keep in mind during the transition? That's a good question.
Does that mean like 100% raw, you mean?
Yeah, if someone's just starting to go raw, like what are a few key tips to keep in mind during the transition period, you know, just starting out, some tips?
Well, some of the tips would be definitely to make sure to drink plenty of good, clean water.
Yeah.
You know, when I talk about pure alkaline structure, energized water, drink plenty of that to keep yourself well hydrated. Another good tip, I think, is drink the Let Me Ginger Blast every day, like I've been doing. I definitely would like to encourage taking some enzymes with their meals just to compensate for the enzyme deficiency, and learn to soak its key point is to soak the seeds, you know, and learn how to germinate seeds. And the ones that don't germinate, learning to turn it into yogurt, you know, with the Life Biotic, just to pre-digest it, make an enzyme activated, but also pre-digest it. And I didn't tell you this before, but that little teaspoon of Life Biotic is worth about 40 billion friendly microorganisms. So when you take a teaspoon of that, put it in the blender and blend it up with the seeds that have been soaked before, those friendly bacteria, those 40 billion, turns into more billions and billions of friendly bacteria in that environment.
Wow.
So it's a way to establish and maintain good intestinal flora in your gut. It's really, really important. And so if you want to maximize your ability to digest even the raw foods to eat these, you know, in the beginning, it's a plus thing. It's a baby step in a better direction if you can do that. If the means are there, yeah, definitely encourage that.
Okay.
Outside of that, I would say listen to their body and learn to develop that relationship with your body and do what it tells you to do, what it guides you to do. If it says, give me some rest, give it some rest. If it says, breathe slow and deep, breathe slow and deep. If it says, drink some good water, and hydrate the body, keep it hydrated, because the body's getting dehydrated all the time. So you got to keep it replenished, right?
What if it says, give me some Popeyes?
Popeyes?
What if it's saying, give me some Popeyes? What if they're craving food? Don't listen to those cravings though, right?
Oh, I haven't heard of Popeyes.
Oh, it's a chicken place.
Oh. Well, I would replace it with something that can be raw living foods and make it taste kind of like that.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine, we made some yogurt, seasoned it up, and dipped it with cauliflower and broccoli, and then dried it in the dehydrator, and it was off the hook incredible.
Oh, I bet.
And it was better than Popeyes.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Amazing. I'm sure it was. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
It makes you feel a lot better than Popeyes too, right? Well, this has been great. Thanks, Lou. I love you. Thanks for coming on, doing these videos. You're amazing. Yeah, you're
Love you
amazing.
back.
Go grab some PURDYME. I'll put the link below. Go check out the video we just did with Lou's What I Eat in a Day. I'll put that on the screen right now. And another video that I did with Lou that you guys will love. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.